This is the Mercedes-Benz V-Class, and it's what happens when a luxury car maker goes all out and makes an MPV. It's meant to focus on space, practicality and comfort, and it's also very luxurious. But who exactly is it for? What's it doing here? That's what I'm going to try to find out. But before we go any further, let us know down in the comments what you think of the Mercedes-Benz V-Class. Is it all the luxury car you'll ever need, or is it a bit neither here nor there? Give us a like, a subscribe, and click the bell icon to be notified every time we make a new upload. So, as with most of our reviews, let's start with what it looks like on the outside. Well, at 5,140 mm long and 1,880 mm tall, it certainly is a whole lot of car. And yes, there's not a lot to it from the B pillar backward, but you have to applaud their attempt to draw your attention at the front with the big star on the grille and the swept back full LED headlamps. And such a big car must surely be a handful out on the road, right? But once you're at the wheel, it's really quite manageable. The view is actually very good, and it's got huge windows, so you get a great view out the side with low sills. The other thing that makes matters so much easier is the steering, which is very, very light and makes turning this car an absolute cinch. But don't be fooled, because at some point you will realize this is a very big car, and when you're taking a U-turn you gotta keep an eye out for what's going on behind. Rear visibility is somewhat hampered by the tall rear seats, but thankfully the outside mirrors are big and give a wide field of view. So, big 5.2 meter MPV, supposed to carry lots of people. So what engine have they given it? Is it a V6 diesel? No, it's a 4-cylinder diesel, and it's mated to a 7-speed auto. But it's not the new generation 2-litre engine from the C-Class, E-Class and CLS, it's the old generation 2.1-litre engine. Which is unusual because, internationally, barely a week after the India launch, Mercedes unveiled an updated V-Class with the new engine and the new 9-speed auto. But like the new engine, they have made this one BS6 ready, and yes, that also means it comes with an AdBlue tank next to the fuel filler cap. The motor outputs 163 HP and 380 Nm, which is less than even a C220D. But how does that feel in the real world? So the car is empty right now, so all the weight it has to lug around is itself and me. But let me just put it into sport mode, which seems really ironic in an MPV, and see what it's got, right? Power delivery is quite gentle and linear, and that's actually a good thing. The last thing you want is your passengers being jolted around in the back, right? It takes a little while to get into its stride, but once you pick up some momentum, it'll move. Let's just hope it's the same once you load it up with people and luggage. I was about to go further, but I had a bit of a revelation. Do you know what? This just feels a little bit odd, doesn't it? I mean, this is a very special and unusual car, and I'm here trying to review it like a regular car. So what I think I'm going to do now is pull over and try and make a list of some really interesting things about this car. It's got a big boot. Now, even with all its seats in place, you can tell that the V-Class has a pretty substantially sized boot. You can stack a lot of stuff vertically, and the best part is it's got quite a low loading lip, so putting your stuff in isn't too hard. Then there's this rather sturdy parcel shelf, which you can remove entirely, but I'm not sure you'll want to, and there's a good reason for that. Say you've packed your boot up already and you've forgotten just the last few things to put in. What you can do instead is just flip open this tailgate and access the parcel shelf right here. With the parcel shelf, you also get these really neat baskets that fold out, and you can carry groceries, I suppose, or any number of things, but it's just a nice little convenient touch. It will confuse fuel pump attendants. Now here's another interesting bit. Because these doors slide all the way back here, they can't have the fuel filler cap where you expect it to be. So instead, what they've done is put the fuel filler cap over here. It is very much a luxury van. Now this may be a van, but they have also done their best to remind you that you're still in a Mercedes. There's lots of soft touch materials all around, nice brushed aluminium trim, and this huge slab of artificial wood on the dashboard. The front seats are powered with memory function and even heated. One thing you will notice, however, is that the command infotainment screen is a bit small and it uses Merc's last generation software. Still, overall, it's quite decently equipped. The seats are flexible. Now, one of the cool things about the V-Class, specifically this more luxurious variant of the V-Class, is that it has 4 rear seats that face one another in the back. Now, while that's very good in a boardroom kind of way, it might get a little bit frustrating. Say you don't want to look at somebody's face the whole way and you don't want to face backwards on your entire journey. Well, these seats are modular, they're on rails, they slide back and forth, and they can even be removed and turned around. However, that's not quite as easy as it sounds. You have to detach the seat from the rails, lift it out and turn it around, and though you could do it yourself, it might make sense to have a helping hand. After all that work though, we put the seat back the way it was because it's probably better to leave them facing each other. Now I find this two-facing two-seating arrangement quite interesting. You see, it reminds me a lot of a limousine from one of those big Hollywood movies. I feel like I'm either going to make a massive deal or be told by some mafia boss sitting over there that I will sleep with the fishes tomorrow. I like that each passenger gets their own dedicated AC vent and that the rear cabin has its own climate zone. I wish there were more charging options back here though. For your phones or your laptops, all you get is two 12-volt sockets for the back seat. And because the rear-facing seats are pressed up against the driver and front passenger, you'll have to jostle with them for a bit of comfort. So you might end up having to slide your seat a bit forward and sharing legroom with the person in front of you. The rear windows don't open. Now think about it, it's fine because this car is of course very well air conditioned, and in a modern luxury car, who opens their windows anyway? But if you wanted a bit of fresh air, you're gonna have to pull over to the side and hop out. What also doesn't help is that there are no sun blinds on these huge windows, which means you're always on display like you're in a big fishbowl. Anyway, as I was getting a bit uncomfortable going backwards, I swapped over to the other side. Now see this is the seat you want to be in. Facing the right way, with enough room to stretch out and a beautiful view out from just about every direction. I repositioned my seat for a bit more comfort, but there was only so much I could do. But that said, it's worth noting that these seats themselves objectively aren't really all that great, not by Mercedes standards anyway. They're not the thrones you'd find in the back of say an E-Class, and because they have to be slid up and down on rails, they are a bit slim and not quite as softly cushioned as you'd like. One thing I find really impressive about this is compared to other vans which feel really bouncy when they're unladen and they're not weighed down in the back, this one doesn't. This one feels nice and tied down and has a really plush, mature ride. So even when you're out on the highway at high speeds and it's just you in the back, you won't get tossed around too much. In fact, this exclusive variant even comes with adaptive dampers, which helps a great deal. The inconspicuous looking center console between the back seats is more than meets the eye. If you slide it forward and fold it out, it opens up into a very useful table. You could use it for lunch, or as a place to keep your laptop, or you can take your office with you. Say you have a meeting, you don't want to go to the office and have this meeting. You'd rather be somewhere else, but you don't have the time to do both. Well, the easiest thing to do, and I think that's ultimately this car's piece de resistance, is you have the meeting in the van.
Come.
So that afternoon I called an edit meeting for the next issue of Autocar India. Little did they know it would be on the move. Right, agenda. Seriously though, how exactly are we going to manage the next issue since everybody is out on some drive or the other? I honestly think being outside the office made us more productive. My colleagues certainly seem to prefer it. Why do I have a note
Actually,
that...
it's more light here than our office. Yeah.
And the scenery keeps changing.
Yeah.
And it's not
And
as
it's not
cold.
freezing. Yes.
But they too had some testers' criticisms. This is Autocar after all.
It's weird that there's no blinds, no?
Yeah,
The
you really
windows
think
is
they
large.
really
See
think
all
they
the
put
bikers as in looking from behind while they're following you. It's
The office now noticed we were missing. Time to head back, I think. Unfortunately, this made our driver a little bit excited.
yeah, but it has a sports setting.
Oh! Hey! Can I type while he's doing this? Meeting done, I dropped them off and set out to try and make sense of the V-Class. It's quite a funny thing driving this out on the road because people just don't know what to make of it. But can you blame them? Because a car like this, you really don't know where it belongs at first glance. It's an 82 lakh rupee MPV. And you thought the Innova was expensive. And in the same way we can no longer judge the Innova against lesser MPVs, we cannot judge the V-Class against even the Innova. This is an altogether different league. It has some very unique applications, especially as a boardroom on wheels. I could also see it used as a luxury family car, great for long journeys, maybe to bring the in-laws and luggage along while you zip off ahead in your AMG. Mercedes chose to bring this car to India because of new government norms allowing car makers to import up to 2,500 units of a certain model without having to homologate them, saving precious time and money. But it is at the end of the day a very pricey MPV, more so when you consider it's not quite as luxurious as other Mercs. It gets only a 4-cylinder diesel and has all the sex appeal of, well, a van. So yes, the V-Class is a very niche product that won't do high sales numbers. But when you're the largest and most successful luxury car brand in India, it's okay to have a few niches.